There are 30 legendary skins in Dead by Daylight, each of them costing 15 bucks. So that makes this video cost $450 to make. The question is, are they worth their price? Well, I can tell you that out of all of them, Twisted Hero is by far the least worthy of your hard-earned cash in my personal opinion. And just as a quick reminder before we begin the ranking, this video is purely subjective. So if you think this skin is cool or any of the skins are cool, I am glad you personally enjoy them. But this is my opinion. And the only cool thing about this outfit is that it came with the Alan Wake Rift. So if you finished it and you also got the Deep Rift variant, it's a nice skin for Billy. In terms of rarity, there is nothing about it that tells me this skin is ultra rare. It has no sounds, no custom animations, no music in the lobby, no special mori, nothing. Even the weapon looks average. Now compare this skin with other Hillbilly sets and tell me which one in your opinion has more effort put on it, because for me, the Cat Hillbilly as well as the Toad Hillbilly completely clear this outfit in terms of uniqueness and value. And the same can be said about Unwanted Toy Dredge. And that's a low blow considering that the Dredge skins are mostly very good. Various of the Dredge's cosmetics have unique features about them, like Snowman Dredge having custom sounds and custom animation for basic attacks, Anniversary Dredge having custom sounds, Maurice Dredge making horse sounds, or the Greek skin having custom attack sounds. All you're getting is the reused sound effects of the Doll Dredge cosmetic, only without the special custom attack animation, so it's even worse value in my opinion than a very rare outfit. For this being the very first ultra rare skin for the Dredge, as well as the first skin that it got on a Rift, it's a massive disappointment. I do enjoy how, unlike the Hillbilly skin, this one is visually very unique, and there are no other killer skins like it, but if I had to choose, I am going with any of the other Dredge skins over this one, so save your money. The only advantage this cosmetic has over another Dredge legendary skin is that you can combine it with other pieces, but it doesn't combine well with anything, so for the same amount, just buy another outfit. In my last legendary ranking video, I claimed that the Rotten Remains skin for Sadako did not have any custom sound effects for her basic attacks. Well, it turns out this skin actually does. The sound effect of the basic attack sounds a bit creepier than the default Sadako. So, if this skin has custom sound effects, why did I rank it so low? Well, it turns out that the Prestige Sadako has also unique sound effects, and that skin is completely free. And in the past, this skin was the only cosmetic Sadako had. Now, we have the Blighted outfit, which comes with unique moist sounds, as well as the DVD mobile port, which looks absolutely gorgeous and gruesome at the same time. To this day, I still don't understand why this skin is ultra rare, and the only cool factor it has is that it's Sadako's body from the well and the only skin that is part of the original movie, which is amazing for Ringu fans. I guess it's also pay to win since it's super dark compared to how bright all the other Sadako skins are, but the advantage is not worth 15 bucks. And we finally arrive at our very first licensed collab cosmetic, as well as the first out of 4 Iron Maiden skins, and we have Pharaoh Eddie. Visually, this skin is actually really cool, and it's in fact the only Egyptian mythology representation we have in the game, which is funny considering how we have Norse and Greek mythology already, and considering that this is a licensed skin from a music band. So, in my opinion, if you pay for this skin, either it's because you like Egypt or because you enjoy Iron Maiden, and then I think it's worth the purchase. But when compared with other ultra rare skins, and especially when compared to other Doctor cosmetics that are very rare, this one is lacking a lot to be considered legendary in my eyes. There are skins that are very rare and have custom sound effects, yet they cost less than Pharaoh Eddie. So at this point, the only reason you are paying $5 extra is for the Iron Maiden brand. And in my opinion, as someone who doesn't care that much, I don't think it's fair. Slipknot gave Legion an outfit and that one was very rare. I guess it's because in universe, the Legion is a cosplay, whereas the Doctor actually becomes Eddie. But in terms of in-game models, this skin is the same Herman character that we all know and love. and it has no special sound effects that would make the skin significantly cooler. Mordeo is a fan favorite amongst many players in the community, and in fact a lot of Huntress players prefer this skin over the other legendary ones that she has. I don't, and that's why it's ranked so low, despite me thinking that it's not a bad skin at all. If you're a fan of the Crypt TV show, or if you like how unique this skin looks compared to the other Huntress outfits, I think the price can be fair, especially because this is one of the only legendary skins that you can actually buy for free if you grind the iridescent shards. But when compared with the other legendary skins that Mordeo has to compete with, I think there is no question in terms of objectivity. All the other legendary skins for Huntress come with unique sound effects for throwing hatchets, unique stun sounds, and a completely unique lullaby. Mordeo, on the other hand, has nothing. And it didn't take that long for us to reach another Iron Maiden skin, and this time it's Samurai Eddie. So originally, while considering the ranking of all legendary skins, this one was going to be in the place of Pharaoh Eddie as the worst Iron Maiden legendary out of all of them, with my justifications being that unlike Pharaoh Eddie, which completely changes the aesthetic of the Doctor to a completely different culture, Samurai Eddie is still a samurai. You could remove Eddie, give this armor to the Oni, and this is easily a very rare skin. In fact, it even looks generic. But I changed my opinion on the last second, all because of one reason, and it's thanks to the weapon. When you buy skins for killers, the weapon is by far the most important part, and having a sword with the iconic Eddie face staring at you at all times is really cool. This was originally bugged and the face was on the reverse side, but what I find really cool about this sword is that it has a really unique feature that only 2 other swords have, and I bet you had no idea this was a thing in the first place. Did you know that if you enter Blood Fury with this skin, Eddie's eyes on the sword will start to glow red? This is really interesting because the sword disappears while in Blood Fury, so you cannot see this in-game outside of bugs, and the fact that the developers even programmed this is really cool in my opinion. If you find this detail interesting, I would really appreciate a like, and subscribe to stay tuned for my future releases, as this fun fact is going to be part of a future useless fun facts video, so consider this a sneak peek. Going back to the ranking, we have yet another Iron Maiden skin, and this time it's the Stranger Eddie skin for Deathslinger. Personally, I think this skin is actually really cool because of how fitting it is for Slinger, and at the same time, how unique it looks visually compared to the other skins. Whereas with Pharaoh Eddie and Samurai Eddie, those aesthetics are very generic, Stranger Eddie is instead a futuristic bounty hunter alien. The hands look really cool in game too, with the golden details. The problem with the skin comes from the fact that this is actually the first pay-to-lose skin in this ranking, and it's all due to the iron sights that they gave to this rifle. This bothers the aim of a lot of Deathslinger mains to the point that nobody that plays him on the top level uses this. It makes it harder to aim for survivors, as you will naturally aim lower than the projectile will actually go, and it also completely blocks the side spikes that pro slingers use in order to aim at survivors running in diagonal or sideways. If you are a casual player, you won't care much, but if you want the absolute best of the best in terms of gameplay performance and competitive advantages, this skin is a massive downgrade to the default rifle. And the worst part is that since this skin is a set, it's the only Deathslinger skin that you cannot change the rifle, so you're paying 15 bucks for a disadvantage. It's visually one of the coolest legendaries in the game, and it would have been ranked higher if only it didn't have that massive mistake. Now, going back to the classic legendary skins, we have Krampus Trapper. My opinion hasn't changed much since my last ranking. I value that this skin was one of the oldest legendaries in the game, and it makes Trapper look significantly different to his default, and I also do give extra points for this skin being time limited, as it makes it even rarer to find in your matches. But compared to what this skin has to compete against, it offers nothing back besides some particle effects that come out of the basket behind him. Unique sound effects would add a lot of cool points to this skin, make the weapon jingle with each attack, which is something another Christmas weapon already does. change the Trapper's voice to sound like a monster instead of the default grunt he has now, and maybe add a unique weapon cooldown animation where Krampus will lick the blood out of the cleaver with his long tongue, as that is one of the core features that the Myth Krampus has. As it is right now, this is the coolest Christmas skin, but not the coolest out of all the legendaries. Another skin that has downgraded in placement compared to the last time is God of Desire Trickster, which I ranked quite high in the past thanks to the fact that this skin has a special lobby animation where he will do the Korean heart instead of the wink he does by default, and also the special voice lines every time he gets stunned, finds a survivor in a locker, or performs a Mori, which are really cool. However, since my last ranking video, there have been a lot of skins that added special sound effects to them, which I think are significantly cooler than have some voice lines which you might even miss out completely during a match, and the Trickster gets cooler and cooler cosmetics with each patch. So, are some voice lines worth 15 bucks at the cost of only being able to use this skin without the ability of changing the weapon? I will let you decide. Luxie is, in my opinion, the better legendary cosmetic out of the two Crypt TV ones, and unlike the other Doctor legendaries, this one is clearly a completely different character down to the model. In fact, it's considered by many to be one of the creepiest skins in the entire game. The combination of an eyeless head with a formal suit looks really cool and fitting for a character like the Doctor, who would dress in these types of outfits, and the weapon, despite being so bulky, is one of the most visually interesting weapons the Doctor has, as the animation of it makes my brain go happy. Outside of that, the skin is still basic. It has no animations, no sounds or voice lines, but unlike Mordeo, there is no other skin for the Doctor that completely outclasses Luxie in all aspects besides the subjective visual appeal. Well, a skin that was originally one of the worst ones in the game is no longer the worst one, and it's for one reason only: I was completely wrong. This skin does have unique custom sounds, which is something various comments told me on my ranking vid, and the only reasons I didn't know is because I am an idiot, and also because this is my most used skin, so I thought that it was default. The voice sounds less muffled since it has no helmet, and the armor clanks are quieter compared to the default since he has way less. This made me appreciate the skin significantly more, so to all of you Night Mains rocking this outfit, I owe you an apology, as I was not familiar with your game. Ferryman Blight is still one of the best Greek mythology inspired skins in the game, as they made the Ferryman look like the one described by Virgil, where instead of just being a skeleton in a cloak like many representations do, in this one he's a combination of the skeleton along with the old man with a ruffled beard. The details this cosmetic has is insane considering how old it is now, and it still holds up. The details showcase how its body is composed of various tormented souls, maybe those that were not able to pay for the ride in the river Styx, or the beautiful designs on the weapon as well as the armor. If this skin were to be released today, along with sound effects or custom animations, this would be an easy top 10 in my opinion. However, despite how much it pains me to say, in my opinion, the Blight has better legendary skins than this one. And as another skin from the Greek mythology collection, we have the Minotaur, and this is the very first legendary skin ever released in Dead by Daylight. This is what is needed from legendary skins: make the killers look significantly different from the default, or completely change the aesthetics into another completely different thing. The Minotaur fits Oni perfectly as a character filled with rage, but even years after his release, this cosmetic still has a massive flaw that detracts a lot of points from it, and that is the fact that despite being a Greek mythological creature, the Minotaur still uses a Japanese technique in order to clean the sword after each hit, and also he uses a kanabo to attack, which is a Japanese weapon. Since we know behavior can implement custom attacks, changing the basic attack cooldown and adding bull sounds to this skin would also easily make it a top 10, just like with the Blight. It doesn't matter how much time passes since its release, to this day I am sad that the Warhammer Titan does not have a Warhammer as a weapon, considering that the spirit could materialize it out of thin air temporarily to attack and it would fit compared to the uninspired blade she has now. Out of all legendaries, this skin is by far the most basic, as it's literally a naked model that is also bald, and compared to the default, there aren't many changes outside of the lack of hair. However, with each passing day, this skin becomes rarer and rarer to see, so its value increases if you care about that stuff. I don't, as I only care about the sounds, custom effects or unique features, and this skin has none. Endless Suffering is the very first ultra rare skin from the battle pass that is a full set with custom animations, and this is what I wanted from an ultra rare. This skin has various things that give it the ultra rare status, like the fully unique lobby animations, the new model of the Doctor which makes him significantly bulkier, or the special sound effect that comes with these skins. My problem is that all of those are gone out of the window while inside a match, so in game it's basically the same as any other Doctor skin. With a new voice and a unique weapon sound effect, this skin would have been ranked very high, but it's still really decent for being the very first Rift cosmetic that actually came with unique animations and sounds. And if you got it with that Rift, you basically didn't have to pay much for it. Now, if you ask me, outside of the Rift, once this skin comes to the store, I do not think it will be that worth. And if I thought that the Doctor skin was great, I was even more surprised with the next ultra rare skin, and that is the Nightmare Serpent for the Spirit. By far one of the most visually unique skins in the entire game, with the spectral serpents on the back, the really cool body design with a snake coming out of it, the creepy lobby animations showing her with the slithering movement of a snake, and the really cool weapon. This is the quality that I expect from ultra rares, and if we are getting a skin on this level with each future Rift, then I am more than happy for it. With a bunch of sound effects, and if the snakes made sounds in game anytime you attack, the skin would have easily been S tier for me. I was very harsh on the Chatterer back when I made my ranking, as I considered this skin to be a scam for the value you get on your purchase, and honestly, I still hold the same opinion, as you barely see your weapon when you attack, and you also completely lose access to the voice lines of Pinhead with this skin. However, this is not behavior's fault. If you want to pay for a skin that makes you feel like you're playing a different character, the Chatterer does his job. So more than the fault of the skin, it's actually the fault of Chatterer being the most boring out of the original 4 Cenobites, and if they gave me the choice, I would trade Chatterer for female Cenobite any day. Wandering Cat is what I meant by sound effects highly increasing the value of legendary cosmetics and actually making an impact in-game. Visually, Wandering Cat is a cool skin, but compared to the other cat cosmetics from this collection, like the one I showed for Hillbilly, the Blight one doesn't stand that much, and the weapon, despite being a very cool idea as it's his own tail that he ripped to use as a cane, is kinda boring visually. But then we have the jaguar noises each time you rush, and that completely set the deal for me. When you play as this skin, you feel like an actual feral cat jumping on survivors like a mountain lion would, and this is why, despite me thinking that Ferryman Blight is better visually than Wandering Cat, I still rank this skin higher thanks to the unique sound effects. For Resident Evil fans, seeing HUNK so low must be a shock, but before you dislike this video, I have 3 reasons as to why I think HUNK is the second biggest missed opportunity here. Now visually, I love the military look of this skin, and HUNK is also the only one of the 2 skins that completely changed the walking animations of the killer, as HUNK's running animation during Feral Frenzy completely changes. But the first issue is the voice, as HUNK still sounds like Frank only with a filter applied to his voice, which is something another very rare skin did already, and if you know HUNK, he is not a teenager at all. The second issue is the fact that if there was one skin deserving of a custom terror radius, it was this one, as Looming Dread would have fit perfectly as both a terror radius and a chase theme. And finally, and this is something new, HUNK could have had an amazing Mori animation where he snaps the survivor's neck just like he does in the Mercenaries mode of Resident Evil 4, which is super iconic for all Resident Evil players that remember this animation. I know there is a universe out there where Robert Englund is the Freddy we have in game, all 4 Cenobites are in DVD, and HUNK is the #1 legendary skin in this video. Sadly, this is not that universe. The Jabberwock for the artist is potentially one of the rarest skins from this video, as not many players use artist, and out of those that do, less people even use the Jabberwock, and that's really sad, because I think this is a really decent legendary skin and it's actually really worth it compared to the others. The Jabberwock comes with unique lobby animations, a cool visual design making the artist look like a Jabberwock, and unique voice effects each time you use your power, so it does make you feel like a completely different killer. However, I have also seen some players not enjoy this skin as much as I do. For example, some players actually hate the new voice the artist gets as it's really grating to the ears, and others hate how her tail is not animated unlike with the Xenomorph, and instead the tail is coiled around the legs. Even the wings are very boring compared to the new cool effects from the Spirit's Rift or another skin with wings we will talk about later. And finally, and this is just my personal opinion, the weapon is really cool as it's a dragon, but it suffers from the problem of all artist weapons being boring, ink based, instead of having cool colors like the gothic skin from the Rift or the current free candy weapon of Halloween. If they made the ink green, I would have loved it significantly more. When Queen Xenomorph was released for the first time, a lot of killer players were very happy, including the movie fans. Later, those same movie fans noticed that the Queen Xenomorph we have in DVD is not accurate to the one from the movies, as the mandible is different and the one from the movies does not have a massive booty like the one in DVD has. Movie accuracy aside, this skin is worthy of a legendary as the sounds completely change compared to the default Xenomorph, so you do feel like you're playing a different species. It also comes with one of the best lobby animations out of all of them. However, the more I played with it, the more I noticed that out of all unique legendary skins with sounds, this one looks way too similar to the default Xenomorph in-game. Don't get me wrong, the hands and tail are different, and I prefer this version as it's smoother and the tail looks more lethal, but in terms of pure objective value, the Queen suffers from the same problem the Chatterer has, and in my opinion, the only thing that could increase its value is a different Mori. And one last thing is that just like the other alien legendary skin, this one is paid to lose compared to the default Xenomorph at the cost of not looking that much different in first person. I feel very sorry for those of you that missed out on the Attack on Titan collaboration, because in my opinion, you have missed the very best Oni legendary skin out of all of them. Originally, I ranked this skin lower compared to the others, but just like with the Spirit, the more time passes, the rarer this skin is, and I have not played against a single Armor Titan player since the license expired. While I still think that the lack of new voice lines hurts this skin's maximum potential, I still love how the sound effects do make me feel like a completely new character. I love the sword attack sound way more than the default blade, and I also love how the steps sound meaty and harsh compared to the metallic clanking of Oni samurai armor. And after taking a look into various of the Oni's transformations during Blood Fury, I severely underrated the hardened crystals that appear all over his body, which basically makes you feel like you have two different skins in one. Literally, compare this skin's Blood Fury to Samurai Eddie or Minotaur Oni, and you can see just how much he changes visually. It's one of the most unique skins in the entire game, it's exclusive, and I hope that one day it comes back, because I hate FOMO and I feel like everyone deserves the chance to get it if they have means to. Now this is how you do blighted skins, and it's so funny how the best blighted skin belongs to the Xenomorph, and they went all in on it for absolutely no reason other than to make it one of the best Halloween skins ever released. Blighted Xenomorph comes with completely unique lobby animations just like Queen Xenomorph does, but in my opinion these animations are even better as they show how aggressive this creature is and how dangerous it can be to find on your trials. What I love is also how aggressive the sounds of this creature are, as they sometimes even sound like the Blight does. I also love how this cosmetic shows the skull that is found inside the Xenomorph's head, along with the human eye sockets. This is also part of the default Xenomorph, but because of how the transparency is made, it's not possible to see that skull in-game even though it's fully modeled. Blighted Xenomorph fixes that problem and gives an even creepier design to a creature that is already considered one of the scariest of all horror media. It's funny how far we have come, as now what was in my opinion a top 3 skins in the game is only the 7th best, but even after all, I still think this is one of the best design skins out of all legendaries, one of the most worth of the price, and still a decent choice if you want to play Huntress. Baba Yaga comes with a unique lobby animation, completely new voice lines when throwing hatchets, as well as a unique lullaby, and visually this skin is stunning, especially with the amount of details the artist did to her to show how accurate she is to the actual legends of Baba Yaga. Now the reason she is here is simply because now, in my opinion, she is no longer the best skin money can afford you for the Huntress, and you might know which one I am talking about. After the disappointment Behavior did with the ultra rare skin from the Rift for Dredge, Behavior redeemed themselves by not only making this the coolest one out of the Iron Maiden skins, it's also one of the coolest skins in the entire game according to Matthew Cote, the game director. Eddie's tribute is an amalgamation of various Eddies from album cover art, which is a love letter to any fans of the music band. But what elevates this skin even further is that they actually did it, and they added electric guitar sounds to this skin, so every time you attack or fall from a height, you can hear the sound of a guitar playing. I don't know how they did such a cool skin, but this is absolutely worthy of being a legendary, and it's also the only Dredge skin where I actually feel like I am playing a weird Eddie creature instead of the Dredge creature that you get with the other cosmetics. Next up, we have a skin I ranked quite high, but not as high as I did now, and that skin is William Birkin, the very first cosmetic that actually completely changed who you're playing as well as the very first legendary cosmetic that added voice lines to a character that previously had nothing. William Birkin is loud, grotesque, and it's also very satisfying to hit survivors with a metal pipe. However, it might be personal bias now that I played too much of Silent Hill 2 Remake, and the only thing that keeps it away from the top 3, even with all the effort put on this skin, is the fact that I know if this were to be released today, it would have been a visceral rarity cosmetic with a custom Mori. I don't know if Behavior will ever come back to update old skins, as they have never done this with any legendary, but if there's one cosmetic that deserves a unique Mori, it has to be William Birkin. And now, let's start talking about skins that have a unique Mori with them, and in my opinion the weakest one has to be Were-Elk Huntress. Visually, I love how this skin is a completely different model compared to the original Huntress, unlike Baba Yaga, which still looks humanoid, and this already makes this beast feel like a completely new killer instead of a cosplay. What I love is how aggressive the Were-Elk appears to be in the lobby, so you expect this beast to sound absolutely brutal in game, but instead you are met with a very quiet noise as well as creepy and manly lullaby instead of the soft spoken one from the default Huntress. And then we have the Mori, which in my personal opinion is really cool and shows improvement on the animations they have done over the years, but it has way too much downtime where nothing is happening, and I also hate how the guts disappear after the Mori ends instead of staying there, which in my opinion makes this Mori almost worse than default Huntress. Naughty Bear comes next as the owner of the bronze medal, which is crazy because he was the best skin in my last ranking video, meaning that Behavior actually cooked not once but twice. But let's not take away the attention of Naughty Bear, because this skin is absolutely fantastic, and one of the reasons Trapper is my second most played killer. It's all due to Naughty Bear. I said it many times, I love skins which make me feel like a completely different character, and this cosmetic achieves it, not only visually as the most unique cosmetic in the entire game as you play with a literal giant teddy bear, but also in terms of personality as all animations are custom made for Naughty. His stun sound is unique, his Mori is unique, and what Trapper deserved. And finally, the amazing addition of the narrator anytime you choose Naughty or when you start a match. All of that for a legendary cosmetic that you can actually get by grinding shards, despite it being a licensed character from another game, since Naughty Bear belongs to Behavior, making this possible. This cosmetic also comes with a cool easter egg where, if you prestige to 100, there is a special voice line all exclusive for this skin. It just shows how much attention and care they put to this Naughty Bear, and even if in terms of value, this skin is not the absolute best, it's still peak for my heart and my personal favorite out of all of them, and honestly I do not think Behavior will ever release a cooler skin for the Trapper. So, what could be more valuable than Naughty Bear? Tiffany Valentine, the bride of Chucky, and literally the next skin that was released after my last ranking video, completely making it outdated in less than a month. One of the problems that many killer skins have is that outside of the weapon, you are not seeing much of your character. But this is all fixed thanks to Chucky's third-person camera, which allows you to see Tiffany in all her glory. And in terms of cosmetics that change a killer's feel, this is objectively the one with the most value in the entire game for the price you pay. Whereas the rest of skins for DBD for killers are skins which survivors are going to enjoy more, this skin is something you actually see at all times. Tiffany comes with a shit ton of voice lines all voiced by Jennifer Tilly, and when I say a lot, there are a lot of voice lines. In fact, I think I haven't heard all of them in game, as sometimes I discover new voice lines for Chucky to this day. Each hit, each slice and dice, you're getting value with your purchase, and even when you pick up a survivor, you get to see Tiffany all up close. Now an argument can be made for the Memento Mori animation, because sadly Tiffany doesn't have any. However, unlike William Birkin, who gets grunts while doing the Mori, Tiffany actually has custom lines for it. So even if the Mori is the same animation wise, it still has Tiffany's flair to it. And no other skin feels like this, even William Birkin. His voice lines are rare. Think about it for a second. Tiffany is currently the only killer cosmetic in the entire game who got an actual famous voice actress to do the voice lines, and you get all of that for the same price as the Krampus cosmetic for the Trapper. It's clear that the amount of effort put into this skin is significantly higher than the vast majority of cosmetics in this video. How about an absolute monster with one of the craziest Memento Moris in the history of Dead by Daylight? Let's talk about the True Lord legendary skin for the newest killer in the game, Lord Dracula. This skin completely changes Dracula visually, as now instead of being a classy, well-dressed vampire, he's gone all out with two veiny monsters as part of the tails, various wings, an entire giant eye on his belly, and a more bat-like face to show how much of a monster he truly is. Not only that, they also decided to give Dracula a completely new voice effect as well as some special voice lines exclusive to this skin, like the ones in the lobby, as well as the voice lines whenever you Mori Soma Cruz, as well as a unique sound effect to the monsters anytime you are in the lobby. This is the ultimate Dracula skin. And what makes this skin the craziest is the fact that as of the release of this video, you can get it for only $10 along with a bunch of other rewards too. Because yes indeed, this outfit is part of the Castlevania Rift, and this is by far and by a huge margin the most valuable Battle Pass Behavior has ever released, and also straight up one of the craziest values I have ever seen in a Battle Pass from any video game whatsoever. Get the Rift now, and you can also get the Deep Rift Blue recolor for it, in case you are bored of the colors of the default version, and even if you miss out on it now, you can still get it in the future. However, unlike with Naughty Bear, this skin will not be free to grind for. Let me know what your favorite legendary skin is. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.